Wagwan. Good morning, good night, welcome back. And if you're listening for the first time, welcome to episode 20 of The Real Situation, where we give you a taste of Jamaican politics. My name is Melanie Byfield, and I'd like to start out by offering my condolences to the family and colleagues of Valerie Nita Robertson. She has been described as a firebrand attorney, a fearless advocate who was committed to justice for all. Ms. Nita Robertson died on Monday. She had been ailing for some time, it's reported, and she died peacefully surrounded by her family. Ms. Nita Robertson was elected PNP councillor for the Papine Division in the Kingston and St Andrew Municipal Corporation in 1986. She was also the party's representative for Portland Western in the 2020 general election. The family said that she'll be remembered as a tireless defence lawyer, a committed advocate for justice, the rule of law, equity, equality before the law, and social justice. Attorney and opposition spokesperson on justice, Senator Donna Scott Motley, described Ms. Nita Robertson as a formidable legal mind and an unwavering champion of justice. Her sharp intellect, fearless advocacy, and deep commitment to the rule of law made her one of Jamaica's most respected attorneys. Her contributions to the legal profession and to the pursuit of justice will not be forgotten. We are still in Joint Select Committee mode. There's been 5 so far, January 15, 22nd and 29th, February 6th and February 19th. Thankfully, February 19th was a short meeting, and this is going to be a real short episode too, because you can probably hear in my voice, I'm sick, so I'm not going to chat too long. So as we said, these Joint Select Committee meetings, we had one on the 15th where the opposition leader read a statement saying there'll be no further participation until 4 questions were answered by the Prime Minister. There was the meeting on the 22nd, which was a presentation giving an overview of certain parts of the bill. January 29 was a presentation on parliamentary cabinet system. The 6th was a presentation regarding citizenship, and then the February 19th presentation was by the Ministry of National Security, addressing clauses 7 through 10 relating to the subject of citizenship. So currently in the Constitution, there are 3 protected classes, right? If you become a citizen by birth, descent, or marriage, you cannot be deprived of your citizenship. Section 7 actually deals with the deprivation of citizenship based on fraudulent marriage. Section 8 confirms that the 3 protected classes, it confirms those 3 protected classes of citizenship, and the bill introduces the right of appeal to the Court of Appeal in this respect. Section 9 is the Commonwealth citizens, which is being repealed and replaced by a procedure for renunciation of your citizenship. Section 10 deals with criminal liability of Commonwealth citizens, which is being repealed and replaced to include provisions for Parliament to make laws regarding the grounds and procedures for citizenship by descent. So discussion took place regarding this particular topic. Should it be limitless, citizenship by descent? They discussed a cut-off point to mitigate the vulnerability of fraud right? Applications which can potentially hinder the security of Jamaica and other borders. There was discussion regarding DNA testing to establish descent, and the limitation of third generation, right? 3 generations, and whether it should be the same, which is what is being proposed for the selection of a president, right? As opposed to citizenship by descent generally. So when the representative from the Ministry of National Security was asked why 3 generations, why should it be limited to 3, the response was, what's good for the goose, right? So let me say something about this presentation. It lacked an appreciation for culture, it lacked an appreciation for heritage, and it lacked an appreciation for the Jamaican diaspora. Right? That statement was far from the intellectual, professional, legal-based, or even generally acceptable level of reasoning that I expected to hear. Right? Given particularly the standard that was the other presentations came with. So it can't be less than 5 generations in any event. Citizenship by descent for the average citizen, it can't be less than 5 generations. 5 generations doesn't mean somebody trying to claim citizenship where the nearest connection is someplace in the 1900s, right? 5 generations, they are 1 yard, right? Same town. Let me give you a scenario, right? So your mummy who's 88 and she born a yard. And you know what's going to happen on Sunday? On Sunday, her daughter's coming over. Right? And not only is her daughter coming, and let's say for argument's sake, her daughter is 70, right? Her grandson is coming too, our daughter's son, and him at 50, right? Who else is coming? Mummy great-granddaughter, who's 30, and she'll bring Fiar Picnic with her too. All of Fiar Picnic, 8 and 10. That's who's coming to dinner. That's why you can't ramp with 5 generations. Because, you gotta tell. So them can't have citizenship. Like Marlene Malahoo Fort said, you're going to get a fight for anything less than 5. Conversation continued. The discussion entered citizenship entitlement from PICA. What does a Jamaican passport do for you? It facilitates travels to other countries where you don't need a visa because it's a Jamaican passport. It gives you an unconditional landing stamp, right? In a foreign passport, or if you have that passport, so you know really have no how long me I stay a conversation with customs, right? There was also discussion about asserting how asserting by descent establishes a connection that you've not previously held to Jamaica. And I was a little bit confused about that statement because in what respect? Legally? Formally? Yeah. If you are establishing and applying for citizenship by descent, you are now maybe making a move to legally become a citizen of Jamaica, right? But otherwise, on the flip side, a connection not previously held to Jamaica, it must be the legal one, because what's your other connection? Your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, your great-grandmother, your great-grandfather, and so. That never changes wherever you live, right? Establishing a connection not previously held, that's maybe from a marriage point of view, but not descent. That is a generational connection that is everlasting. You are Jamaican by descent forever. That not change. There was also discussion about statelessness, right, where somebody basically technically doesn't belong to a country, and whether that person is eligible for Jamaican citizenship. Let me give you a scenario. So there is a YouTube, it's on YouTube, it's called Declared Stateless, US Citizen Deported to Jamaica. And it was about a young man called Reuben Simpson. Now, he has Jamaican parents. Both his parents were born in Jamaica. They lived in America and were US citizens. And his father was in the services. So while his father was stationed in Germany, he was born in Germany, right? Long story short, he picked up a drug conviction and was about to get dipped, and they were trying to dip him to Germany, and Germany said, no, you weren't born in Germany, right? So, no. And then, ultimately, again, cut a long story short, they dipped him to Jamaica. Now, he'd never been to Jamaica. He didn't have Jamaican citizenship while he was eligible. He wasn't a Jamaican citizen. Basically, the US tried a thing, and it worked, and he ended up in Jamaica. So he was deemed to be in a state of statelessness because he wasn't US born. His parents didn't actually apply for US citizenship for him because they thought that he was automatically entitled, right? And Germany, you are not eligible for German citizenship when you are born to a US serviceman, right? So they talked about denial around incidents of deportation where national security might be raised, where a serious or heinous crime has been committed from a public safety standpoint, and depriving the ability to acquire citizenship for those reasons. And they also talked about automatic citizenship not being automatic for parents who are not Jamaican, but they have a child in Jamaica. So that was and like I said, it was a short meeting, a short overview of that presentation. The next meeting was identified for Thursday, February 27. Don't forget, all of them are on YouTube. It's called Joint Select Committee on the Constitution Amendment Republic Act 2024. And they're also on the Road to Republic website as well. And the presentations are under a tab called Publications, then Briefing Papers. I'm going to leave you, like I said, this is real short. I'm going to leave you with some issues that are not included in the bill, but continue to be on the lips of the public. And there's 4 of them. Number 1, have you seen George Graham? Apparently neither of his fellow parliamentarians. Over the past 2 years, Graham attended only 14 of 93 meetings, a 15% attendance rate, with a basic salary of 25.9 million Jamaican dollars. Graham, who is CEO of Paramount Trading Jamaica, which is a lubricant and chemical producer. He represents St. Catherine Northwest for the PNP. He resigned as party spokesman in 2023, and later that year the PNP named a new representative, Damien Crawford, for the next general election, which is due in September this year. Jamaica does not have a law to allow constituents to recall non-performing members of Parliament. So constituents have no recourse until the next election comes around. So that was something that was advocated for the bill, but not in the bill. Recall of a member of parliament. The next thing that's still being talked about, 3 years ago, Jamaicans were shocked at the content of a viral video recording of a man assaulting a woman, who he since married, with physical blows, a piece of furniture, which was looked like a stool, and from the body language interaction, verbal violence. George Wright, the MP for Central Westmoreland, has not denied he was the person in the video. He was kicked out of the JLP, but he didn't lose his seat in Parliament. Should this abusive behaviour be treated as something that he should answer for in his role as a public official? Ultimately, the matter of who qualifies to serve as an MP is being called into question. Who determines the criteria of selection? Shouldn't we consider the offence publicly shared in MP Wright's case as a disqualifier? But how could he pass the bar if there are no established criteria of selection? Egregious, and I'm reading something. This is from the bill for the impeachment of senators and members of parliament that was tabled in 2021. Egregious conduct or other misbehaviour unbefitting of the holder of the office of senator or MP, which is so serious as to bring the office held by the person into disrepute. That's language proposed in that 2021 bill, which was tabled, debated in both houses, and then silence. Relevance of this story: Mr. Wright was received back into the Jamaica Labour Party to take his seat with them in Parliament. Number 3, Jamaica remains stagnant at 44 on the Transparency International Corruption's Perception Index for 2024, making it the country viewed as the third most corrupt in the English-speaking Caribbean. Jamaica had dropped 3 spots, now ranked 73rd out of 180 countries. Danielle Archer of NIA says Jamaica continues to mark time or tread water, adding that the country's score had remained unchanged for years without any meaningful action to improve it. Have we strengthened our anti-corruption framework, or have we sought to dismantle it? Asked Miss Archer. Shadizi Ali, Dean of the Faculty of Law, acknowledged that corruption has long been a major obstacle to Jamaica's development, costing 100 billion Jamaican dollars annually. And then the final one, the government is trying to give the topic of Jamaica's apex court a wide circle until phase 2-ish. But guess what? The CCJ is about to have a Jamaican president. The Caribbean community, CARICOM leaders have accepted a recommendation to appoint a Jamaican Justice Winston Anderson as the new president of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Justice Anderson becomes the 4th president of the CCJ, replacing the St. Vincent and Grenadines jurist, Justice Adrian Saunders, who retires later this year. Justice Anderson, 65, was sworn in as a judge of the CCJ on June 15, 2010. The latest RJR Gleaner commissioned on Anderson public opinion poll has received that more Jamaicans support combining the country's transition to a republic with the adoption of the Caribbean Court of Justice as the final appellate court, rather than pursuing them separately. Asked in the latest opinion poll how they would vote if a referendum were to be held to decide whether the CCJ should become Jamaica's final appellate court, 32% said they would vote for it. 20% said they would not support it. 38% said me no know. 10% said me not care. Okay, as a reminder, if you are not registered to vote, March 31, 2025 is the deadline to register for the next voters list, which is scheduled to be published on May 31, 2025. I hope you're continuing to enjoy the journey, finding it educational and useful and ting. As I said, the next joint committee, select committee meeting is February 27. And yes, so then our travels on the road to Jamaica becoming a republic will continue. Just remember, this road can't be patched. It needs to be totally torn up and laid down properly with drainage and all of them thing there, because it needs to last a long time. And I'm still confident this journey is going to end with a truly independent and sovereign Jamaica land we love. You can find this podcast on YouTube, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Podcast Index, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Apple, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you want to reason about anything or you can't find any of the material I was talking about, you can email me on atasteofja@outlook.com. Until next time, thank you for supporting this podcast. Please subscribe, follow, like, share it with your friends and family. And again, I thank you for taking the time to listen. One love. Yes, the word is love.